I am Officer Sia. I'm 28 years old. I've worked in the police for 5 years, and still, I can't stand most of my colleagues. I respect their rank and the uniform, but not the men inside them. They talk about food, gossip about people, or worse, take bribes when no one's watching. Today was supposed to be serious. We had been shouted at by our boss in the morning because drug smuggling was getting worse, and we had no progress. Then a tip came in. The smuggler would pass through the highway today. My team swore we'd catch them. I told myself I'd be the one to do it. Hours later, I was tired and angry. We had stopped dozens of cars. Nothing. Just drunk drivers and a few packets of marijuana. The sun was starting to burn my skin, and my hope was fading. Then I saw it. A black sports car, low and shiny, moving towards us like it owned the road. The engine made a deep sound, like it knew it was faster than anything here. I stepped forward, and the window rolled down. And well, I wasn't ready for the face looking back at me. He was gorgeous, distractingly good looking, with eyes that held mine a second longer than they should have. Then the music hit me. Loud, heavy bass that shook the door. Turn it down, I said. He smirked and turned the knob. The music fading. My team began searching his car, and he stepped out, leaning casually against the door like this was a date, not a police stop. Sonny, he said, smiling. And you are? Officer, I replied, keeping my voice firm. Don't get too friendly. I can put you in a cell if you cross the line. He smiled in fade. Aren't you too beautiful for this role? He teased. I've never met anyone like you before. Then he held out a small card. If you ever want to talk, call me. I took the card and ripped it in half. A sudden wave of anger rose in me. Like he thought I was easy, someone who'd fall for a few sweet lines. My ego flared. I rolled my eyes sharply and turned to the others. Check every single thing carefully, I ordered, including his documents. Then I walked away, my steps firm, refusing to give him the satisfaction of even a glance back. But I could feel his eyes still on me. The next day, I still couldn't shake the feeling of failure. We had spent hours on that highway, checking every car like our lives depended on it. And still, nothing. If the smuggler really had passed through, he was smarter than all of us. That thought bothered me more than I wanted to admit. It was my day off, and I told myself I'd stop thinking about it. In the evening, I met a few friends at a small cafe in the city. The smell of roasted coffee beans and baked pastries filled the air. We took a corner table and started chatting about everything from work to old college stories. I was just starting to relax when something caught my eyes. Across the room in another corner sat Madan sir, my senior officer. He's usually strict, hardly ever smiling. But right now, he was leaning forward, laughing softly at something the person across from him had said. I tilted my head a little, curious. I couldn't see the other man's face. He was sitting with his back to me. I told myself it was none of my business and turned back to my friends. We kept talking, but a part of me kept wondering who could make Madan sir laugh like that. A few minutes later, the man stood up. He shook Madan sir's hand, then walked towards the counter. Without meaning to, my eyes followed him. He turned slightly, and my breath caught. It was him, Sunny, the same man from yesterday, the black sports car, the smirk. My eyes widened, and for a moment the noise of the cafe faded away. My heart felt light, like it was spinning. I didn't know why, but seeing him here with my senior made my stomach twist. Something wasn't right. The next morning, we were back on the highway. The case was becoming a nightmare. The papers were full of stories about how drugs were destroying lives. Parents were marching on the streets demanding action. Every day without progress made us look more useless. For me, it wasn't just the pressure from the above. I felt it in my gut, a moral responsibility. If I wore this uniform, I had to do something. But again, car after car passed with nothing more than expired licenses or small amount of weed. My patience was running out. Then I saw a silver coupe sliding down the road like it was born from moonlight itself. The sunlight scattered off its curves, almost making it glow. It slowed at the checkpoint, and my heart skipped. Sunny. What the hell? First a black sports car, now this? How can one man have such luxury at his fingertips? A thought crept into my mind. What if he was the one? What if all this charm was just a cover for something bigger? Before I could say anything, he caught me staring. Hello, beautiful, he teased. Do I look that handsome, or can you just not stop looking at me? My cheeks burned, but I brushed it off. What job do you do? Because an ordinary person can't even imagine cars like this. Sunny smirked. I don't do job, Miss Sia. I'm a business owner. A job wouldn't allow me the life I live. His gaze didn't leave mine. I didn't answer. I walked towards the coupe, determined to search it myself this time. My hand were on the door handle when a voice came from behind. Let him go, Officer Sia. There is no need to doubt him. I turned. Officer Madan. Sir, aren't we supposed to be fair and vigilant and treat everyone equally? I asked, keeping my voice polite but feeling my disappointment rise. Madan brushed me off with the flick of his hand. Let him go. Then he looked at Sunny and gestured him to leave. Sunny gave me a small smile before driving away. I stood frozen for a second, hardly believing what I'd just seen. My suspicion shifted. Maybe Sunny wasn't the only problem. Maybe the real reason we'd made no progress was standing right in front of me. I decided to watch him. For the next few days after my duty hours, I followed him quietly, keeping a distance, noting where he went, who he met. But nothing suspicious turned up. He seemed perfectly normal. Maybe I was just overthinking. I was ready to give up when it happened. Walking past his cabin one afternoon, I heard his voice. Low, urgent. Okay, this is the last time I'll let you get through. If I don't get what's promised, I won't spare you. Remember that. Meet me with a thing tonight at the ABC pub. My heart began pounding. I stepped away quickly before he could see me. The rest of my shift felt endless. Each minute dragged like an hour. Finally, I clocked out, went home, changed into casual clothes, and headed to an ice cream shop across the street from the ABC pub. From its big glass window, I had a perfect view of the entrance. I waited and waited. 4 ice creams later, I was on my 5th when I saw him, Officer Madan, walking into the pub. Just a few minutes later, Sunny followed. I tossed some cash on the counter, pulled a mask over my face, and slipped inside. The pub wasn't crowded, which worked in my favor. I took a table in a far corner where I could see them both, but I knew they could see me too if I wasn't careful. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I saw Sunny smirking as he handed an envelope to Madan. My stomach tightened. Then, for the briefest second, Sunny's eye flicked into my direction. A chill ran down my spine. Even with the mask, it felt like he could see straight through me. Or worse, that the mask itself was making me look suspicious. I got up and left. Lying in the bed that night, I replayed every moment. If Sunny showed up again tomorrow, it would prove it. Madan was helping him, probably with drugs. And that's why we had been failing to catch the real culprit. I couldn't let it go any longer. Tomorrow, I'd have to do something. By the next morning, I knew the drill. Same dusty checkpost, same endless line of cars, same frustrated faces. But this time, I wasn't really here for routine checks. I was here for him, Sunny. If he showed up today, I had a plan. Hours passed, my patience thinned. Then I heard it, a deep, throaty engine growl. That caught through the air like a warning. A bright red muscle car rolled towards us. It was him. I glanced at Officer Madan. I knew he'd block any serious search, so I had to work around him. I took a few steps away from the main checkpoint, far enough that I was out of Madan's control, but still in Sunny's line of sight. When he spotted me, I didn't frown or look away like before. Instead, I gave a small, shy smile. He slowed the car and leaned out slightly. Seems like someone's glowing today. Wanna grab coffee with me sometime? Aren't you being too comfortable? I teased. He chuckled. Maybe. I tilted my head. Alright, give me a card again. I might call you if I change my mind. His eyes lit up, and without hesitation, he reached into his jacket and handed me the card. I slipped it into my pocket, keeping my expression calm. But in my head, the words were loud and clear. Mission successful. When I called Sunny, I expected him to be arrogant, maybe even smug that I'd finally reached out. But when we met at the small cafe, he seemed different. We talked, he fluttered a little, but not in the irritating way. There was something calm in his voice, something steady in the way he looked at me. I found myself feeling strangely comfortable around him, too comfortable for someone I suspected of smuggling drugs. I reminded myself to stay sharp. Gentle faces are often the ones you should watch the closest. I tried to lead the conversation, make it seem like I was just a middle class woman who liked a simple, rooted life. I told him I didn't like fancy restaurants, luxury cars, or people showing off. He just looked at me for a moment, then smiled. What do you do to help the poor and needy? The question hit me harder than I expected. I froze. I had never really thought about it. Never done anything like that. I forced a smile. Well, forget about me. What about you? What have you done? He leaned back. You know, people often want to escape situations like yours, where you strongly believe in what's right and what's wrong. But when it comes to actually doing something, your situation holds you back. My cheeks grew warm. He had touched a nerve. Sensing it, he changed the tone. Anyway, my roots aren't that luxurious, you know. I kind of live like a middle class man. Really? I raised an eyebrow. Can you show me how? Well, let's go then. And just like that, we left. First, he took me to a small tea stall where the chai was so perfect. I wanted to drink 3 cups. Then to a pani puri vendor where the spicy water made my eyes water, but my heart smiled. Then to a hut-like shop for hot pakoras, crispy and golden. We wandered into a mela after that. Rode swings, spun on the merry-go-round, laughed like old friends. Somewhere between the rides and the smell of fried snacks, I forgot why I had come here in the first place. Then Sunny led me to the backside of the mela into a slum area. He stopped at a broken, flimsy house where a man lay on a bed looking sick and fragile. A woman, his wife, I guessed, lit up when she saw Sunny. They welcomed him warmly, but Sunny kept it simple. We just came to check if the old man is feeling better. The woman's voice cracked with gratitude. There's been so much progress. All thanks to you, sir. If we had just relied on the government, he would have been dead by now. She called him a god. I stood there quietly, watching. A part of me admired him in that moment. On the walk back, I noticed he wasn't smiling anymore. What's wrong? You should be happy she blessed you, I said. He sighed. It's not just him. There are hundreds, maybe thousands living like this. Worse even. The government helps here and there, but it's not enough. I just hope my next project gets successful. Then I can help them properly. Something in his tone made my stomach twist. Was he hinting at something? Before I could ask, his phone rang. He glanced at it, and then at me. Something urgent came up. Can you go home alone? I nodded slowly. Yeah. And just like that, he was gone. That morning brought one of the ugliest cases I had seen. A rich, arrogant man had hit and run a poor street vendor. The vendor's family were at the station, crying, begging for justice. Their pain filled the whole room. I promised myself that this time we would not let the rich escape. But only a few hours later, everything changed. The family came back and said it was their fault, that the man had been careless and the car hit him by accident. I knew what had happened. Money had silenced them. The rich were always a step ahead of the law because they had the right resources. After duty, my head was heavy with thoughts. I stepped out of the station, and there at the bus stop stood Sunny. No shiny car, no sunglasses, just Sunny, like an ordinary guy waiting for a ride. I don't know why, but I felt a strange wave of happiness to see him there. Without thinking, I told him everything. How I hated those arrogant rich brats. How unfair it felt to watch the poor suffer while the guilty walked free. He didn't interrupt. He just listened. Then, out of nowhere, he smiled. Thank to God, there is a chance you might accept me then. I frowned. What do you mean? I want to tell you something, he said. Please meet me tomorrow near the port. What is it? I asked, my voice low. I like you, he said simply. I liked you the day I saw you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. But before I hear your answer, there's something I want to tell you. Before I could react, he placed my favorite ice cream in my hand. And then he walked away. I just stood there, silent. Inside me, butterflies and confusion collided with something sharper. Fear. Back at home, I sat on my bed, staring at the wall. I couldn't think. My mind felt blank. The ice cream he gave me had melted away hours ago, but somehow my thoughts were still frozen. I finally grabbed my phone and called Dickamber, my colleague and one of the few people I could trust. When he picked up, I poured everything out. How I suspected Sunny was a smuggler, how Officer Madan might be taking bribes from him, and how in the middle of all this, Sunny had told me he had feelings for me. Dickamber stayed quiet for a few seconds. Then he spoke. Sia, I think he's doing all this to use you. You're a police officer after all. You're useful to him. My stomach tightened. Listen, he continued. You need to be smart. Go to him. Play innocent. Make him trust you enough to reveal everything about the drug racket. Then we catch him. And we get to the roots of this case. He paused, then added in a lower voice. This could make you hero. It will be your name in the headlines for breaking the biggest racket in years. You might even get promoted. I sat there, holding my phone, saying nothing. Part of me liked the sound of that. Me, the one who solved the case no one else could. Me, the officer who exposed the truth. The glory, the respect, it was tempting. But another part of me didn't want this to be true at all. Because that would mean Sunny, the man who made me laugh at the Mela, who bought me tea at a roadside stall, who helped a dying man in the slums, was nothing but a criminal playing with my feelings. And deep down, I wasn't ready to accept that. Dickamber called in the morning. You need backup? I hesitated. Not today. I'll meet him first, see if I can gain his trust. Then, if it's time for action, I'll let you know. He seemed satisfied. All right, be careful, Sia. By the time I reached the coast, the sun was low and golden, bouncing off the water. And there he was, Sunny, leaning against yet another ridiculously huge modified car. This one looked like it belonged in a gangster movie. I folded my arms. You know, maybe instead of buying one of these monsters every week, you could actually help the poor you talked about. He looked almost guilty. It's not. I mean, I start to doubt your intentions when I see you speaking like you some saint one day and showing up with these the next. I teased, but my eyes were searching his face for a reaction. Sunny just smiled faintly, like he had just run out of excuses. Thanks for coming. I gave him a small nod. This better be worth my time. He let out a nervous chuckle. I don't remember the last time I felt this nervous. Why? You're acting like you're a smuggler. It slipped out before I could stop myself. His body froze. His eyes locked on mine. You know? My heart sank. You are? Yes, he admitted, voice low. But it's not. You don't have to explain. I cut him off. My voice was sharper than I intended. You pretend to be the savior of the poor, but behind the scenes you're hurting people. I don't know which side is the real you. Something flickered in his eyes. Frustration. And what about you? Yesterday you were full of anger at those rich people you're suddenly defending now. I blinked. That's not the same. It's the same in my book, he said flatly. You're unbelievable, I snapped. A liar and a disgusting. Footsteps pounded behind me. I turned to see Dickamber, with the full team storming towards us. Hey, I told you I'd call you, I shouted at him. Sunny's expression darkened. Traitor, Then, oddly, he smirked at me. Nice acting, by the way. What are you? You're not a good officer, Sia. Dicumber cutting. Let me show you how to close a case and get the promotion. You're too soft for this. Before I could answer, his men swarmed Sunny's car, ripping into it. They searched every corner, even yanking at panels. But Sunny just stood there, relaxed, hands in pockets, almost amused. Nothing, not a single thing. Then my phone rang. Ma'am, we've got the drug dealer and the drugs. Orders are for everyone to report immediately. I ended the call, still looking at Sunny. He smiled like he knew something I did. I told Dicumber, and we all left. Sunny raised a hand in a slow, lazy wave. Goodbye, officer. The drug bust was one of the biggest wins of our team. But even weeks later, something didn't sit right. If Sunny wasn't the drug smuggler, why had he said he was? Not being able to take it anymore, I went straight to Officer Madan. I told him everything, including that I'd seen him take a parcel from Sunny. Madan laughed. Yes, he's a smuggler, but not of drugs. He smuggles luxury cars, stolen from the rich, modifies, sends overseas. Then he uses the money to help the poor. Robin Hood types, you know. I stared. You're serious? I was going to arrest him, Madan said. But he offered intel on the actual drug ring in exchange for a free pass. And honestly, on a humanitarian level, not the worst deal. And then he just walked off. I sat there, the pieces rearranging in my head. All this time, I'd been looking for drugs. It was the cars. A laugh slipped out, alone, ridiculous, and a little relieved.